Hello, Zoo Adventure digital guest. It's so good to see you today.
Yay!
Wonderful episode today. Your Zoo Adventures team today is Steve in front of the camera. And why are you on this side of the camera?
Because I want to join in on the fun.
Well, tell them who you are.
I'm Wesley. Sometimes behind the camera, now maybe a little bit more in front of the camera, right? Why are you looking at me weird?
And who's filming today?
Who's filming?
Chelsea!
She's kind of far away.
Yeah,
so
she's kind of far away. So Chelsea's behind the camera. What are we doing today, Steve? Stop looking at me weird.
Adaptations, those characteristics that help animals survive in their place.
Yes. Tell
them what that means.
So an adaptation is anything that a plant or animal has that allows them to, like you said, to survive in their habitat. So their native habitat, where they normally are found.
Okay.
Yeah, normally they're found.
Nice. Okay. So what I usually talk about is fish.
Okay.
Because if we kind of magically turns you into a fish, kind of like something here magically changed as well.
I magically got taller.
But you did.
Yeah, see? I grew over the last year.
So that's
pretty amazing. In my 30s, just had this random growth spurt.
So adaptations and fish. So any characteristic that a fish has that helps them survive in their space. That's different from you and me, for example. So we have eyes, so do fish. So that's not exactly an adaptation that helps them survive in their space.
Right.
That's different than other animals.
Right, so an adaptation of a fish would be a streamlined shape to allow them to swim.
Very
Flippers,
good. Yep.
fins. Flippers would be your mammals, and then those thingies.
Yeah, what are those? What are those things called on fish? We're not going to tell you. You've got to come up with a guess.
I'm making my fish face, but you can't see it because I'm not wearing a clear mask.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
She's getting one, though.
Yeah, so now because I'm in front of the camera, I will be soon rocking one as well.
Styling and profiling, as they say. All right, so we do have some really cool things to share with our digital guests.
Yes, we sure do.
Are we ready to head out?
Yeah, let's go.
So let's go. Come on.
Let's get him right.
Come on. See, that's what I'm familiar with. So adaptations, Leslie. And here's a kind of a neat idea on adaptations. It's not something you see on the animal, but it's something that they do.
Are those called behavioral adaptations?
Why, yes, they are, Leslie.
Good.
So Chelsea's on 2 or 3 animals here, but hey, Chelsea, do me a favor. Can you back up and scoot down a little bit and show them the rest of the herd? Like the rest of the story. So these animals live in herds. If you live in herds, that's an adaptation to survival because now you have more eyes. You have more ears, listening and looking for danger.
That makes sense, yeah. And these are fringe-eared Oryx, correct?
They are, yeah.
They do have a little bit of fringe on their ears.
Right on the ears, a little small little bit you can see.
And there are different types of Oryxes, so like this isn't the only type of Oryx. But yeah, herd life, pretty neat, being able to protect, have all those eyes.
Yep.
And what I've seen before too is that like that also having that many animals in a herd can also help protect babies. So like I've seen here where we had a young one in the middle of a circle.
Right.
And then all of the animals were facing outwards.
And all those horns
protecting.
And stuff.
It was pretty neat to see, I will say.
It's a cool. Now, I don't know that all of the herd animals do that, Leslie, but I think there are definitely some that do for sure. And it's neat because on a space like this is 40 acres, remember, and we've seen the babies be tucked away and kind of hidden away sometimes, as opposed to having that line of protection. But I know bison might do that we have here at the zoo. I know muskox do it from Alaska. So it has that amazing ring of protection around the babies.
Yeah, it almost looks like, when you draw a sun and then you make the little rays.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looked like to me. It was so neat because it's so intentional, which is really interesting.
Well said.
Instead of now they're kind of all together, but they're wherever they kind of want to be together. But seeing that really neat intentional like circle with the rays of their faces radiating out was pretty neat.
I love it.
I hope that painted a good description to
I think
some people because it was really neat when I saw it. So, any other adaptations?
On these guys, I think we're good. I want to talk about herd life with them.
Okay.
So I'm glad we're able to kind of dive into herd life. We've talked about horns and antlers, to all kinds of other things.
And we will again.
Herd life, that protection, that adaptation, survival, because of the number of ears and eyes looking and listening out.
Pretty neat. Listen, Steve, I know we want to sit here and take pictures of this all day.
I was just doing that a second ago.
I mean, look at Asha. Look at Asha. I haven't seen Asha
Wait, I'm still here.
in quite some time.
Excuse me. You're not going to be seeing me inside of my mask.
Steven!
So, what?
Steven!
Is that inappropriate?
No, we're doing a Zoo Adventures.
Oh, that's what we're doing?
We can take pictures after we do the Zoo Adventures.
All right. So,
adaptations, right? Okay.
That's true.
Yes.
I'm glad you remember.
We're probably going to be saying that a lot.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
One of kind of the adaptations of these species is very close to something that people have that is an adaptation too. Bye, Asha.
What's that?
That is this.
The hitchhike? Oh, no.
Do you like my...
The song was really engaging.
I got that song from my nephew, I will say.
Oh, thanks, Bradley.
This is...
That is a thumb.
That is a thumb. What is special about my thumb? I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
It reaches. It helps hold.
Yeah. Do you know what a thumb that is able to move in a way that it can kind of help hold or it can grab onto things is called?
Leslie's?
I mean, I do have one.
Oh.
We're getting there.
Okay. No.
It's called an opposable thumb.
How come?
Because the way that it's constructed, it can actually move in a way that it can clamp and hold on to things, which allows these, you know what these are?
Yes.
Yes, okay. They are a yes. This is
These are chimpanzees.
Chimpanzees, thank you.
I know that one.
These are chimpanzees, and this specific wonderful chimpanzee, although all of our chimpanzees are wonderful, this specific one is Jonathan.
He does hold some hearts, that's for sure.
He definitely does hold
What do you guys think, Digital
hearts.
Guest? What a great shot from Chelsea.
He is one that will come up and kind of put his hand against the glass like this.
Wow.
So if you're ever here and you see a chimpanzee do that, it tends to be Jonathan. And the reason for that is because he is the alpha male.
He's the boss.
He is the boss,
Okay.
yeah. So in his troop, we have 2 troops, and he puts his hand against the glass when the chimpanzees are being fed, so that he's told everybody else gets to be fed first.
Oh.
And then if he sits with his hand against the glass, then he gets fed as well. So, and part of that is because since he is the alpha male, if he really wanted to, he could just take all the food. He could just take all the food.
So it's kind of a station type behavior?
Yeah, it's kind of like a station. Yeah, saying, hey, man, like we're going to let everybody eat, and then you eat as well.
Gotcha.
Because everybody's got to eat, right?
Nice.
That's how we have a healthy troop.
So having that opposable thumb is a magnificent adaptation that helps these guys be chimpanzees?
Basically, yeah.
Nice.
So the chimpanzees, they are
shot.
omnivores. So they like to eat meat and plants. And one of the things that especially that you can kind of see, we have it out in the habitat, is they eat termites. Now you might sit there and say, how does a chimpanzee get termites out of that cool
Leslie,
mound? Yes.
How do chimpanzees eat termites out of that cool mound?
Great question.
Thank you.
They can't just break the top off because then all the termites will come out, and some of them have really nice bites. So they use tools.
They're able to use tools? Chimpanzees can?
Yes. They're intelligent, and also those opposable thumbs help them get like a stick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They can get a nice stick that's long, and then they'll put their saliva on it, which is nice and sticky, and then put it into a hole, a small tiny opening that's already in the termite mound.
Neat.
And then those termites will come up and grab onto that and stick to it, and then it pulls the stick out, and then it's a termite popsicle.
That is a lovely term. Termite popsicle. So having the adaptation of an opposable thumb also helps with a behavioral adaptation of being able to use tools.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to hold that stick and keep it steady.
Gotcha. We needed a whole episode on chimpanzees.
Oh, we will have one, don't
Awesome.
worry.
Fantastic.
Bye, Jonathan.
This is one of my favorite. I really like these guys.
I pretty much love most reptiles.
You're that much a reptile fan?
I love them. I really
cool.
do. Very
Gotcha.
cool animals. Looks like he's shedding. Do you see
A
that?
little bit on the tail end there.
Yeah. Some of those scales coming up.
Nice. So this is a blue-tongued skink.
They do have blue tongues.
They do, and I wish you show it to you, but
it looks like he's resting. He has his eyes all closed.
blue
right?
is he?
Yeah.
I can't see the rocks in this.
Oh, is he? Chelsea, is he still have his eyes closed?
No, they're open now.
Oh, maybe because he heard us talking about his
talking
blue
about
tongue.
it. You know how he gets.
Right.
But that blue tongue is really important because it's almost like a safety mechanism for him. He opens that big white mouth and he has that blue tongue there.
Right.
Sticks it out, and it's kind of like, whoa, what is that? Giving him just enough time to scurry under a rock or under a branch or something like that.
Good
Blue
catch,
tongue
Chelsea.
skink.
I was going to say, he may not be doing it, but we have a nice picture
Oh,
of it right here.
fantastic.
It is blue.
Yeah, thank you,
we're,
Chelsea.
We're not saying it's slightly blue. It is bright
It is very,
blue.
and it's a neat blue too. It's a pretty blue.
And I don't know if it really picks up on the camera, but you might be able to see that it's a little bit bright kind of where he is. And it seems like he's probably basking under a lamp to get some of that.
Oh, it does look a little brighter there.
Right, yeah, some of that warmth because he's ectothermic. So he's
what-a-thermic?
Exactly, right? He's
Ectothermic?
ectothermic. So let's break it down, right?
Okay, break it down.
Ecto kind of means outside
Okay.
or around, surrounding. And thermic has to do with temperature, so outside temperature.
Oh, look at you go breaking
Right?
the words down. Nice.
I like to break things down, you know?
That makes sense, yeah.
So that means that they gain their temperature from their surroundings.
Oh,
So they
okay.
if it was today is beautiful,
Oh,
it's
it's
bright and
gorgeous.
it's sunny, so they can get some from the nice sun and the dome.
Nice.
But they also have these extra heat lamps to help them stay nice and warm and help them since they're ectothermic.
Sure. And he's ectothermic. Reptiles are ectothermic.
Right.
So does that mean that we're inside thermic?
Yes, basically. It would be endothermic.
Endothermic.
Yes.
Okay. So mammals and birds are endothermic.
Right, yeah.
They maintain their own body temperature. Yeah, that's so cool.
Some
Important
fish too.
adaptation, yeah. Ooh.
I know. Look
nice.
that one up. That one's pretty cool. Some fish do.
A neat little
slightly,
adaptation.
but
Well, you know some sharks do. Don't some sharks
Right, yeah.
generate their own heat?
slightly above temperature of the ocean, which is pretty neat when you think
Yeah.
about it. Anyways, let's go find something else.
Okay. So Leslie,
Yes, Steve.
where do we start with elephants?
Oh, I don't even know. There's so many things.
So many
I
adaptations.
have a program just about elephant adaptations.
Do you
I
really?
Like I could talk about them for 45 minutes.
No kidding. We don't have
Amazing.
quite that much time.
No, so
So pick one.
okay, one of my favorite things, they're from a part of the world that is relatively warm.
Sure.
These are African elephants, so they are from Africa. There are also Asian elephants. And they have giant ears.
They do have big ears.
And that's a really great adaptation to a warm climate.
Ears are adaptation to warm climate?
I know, right? It's not just for sound. Usually you're like, big
Yeah, right.
ears, they hear better, which they do hear very well. But
So why would... Okay, go ahead.
okay, you ready?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have digital guests do this.
Okay.
Look at your wrists. I don't know about you. Now, not everybody may be able to see them, but you might see some kind of lines on there that are a purple or blue or even a reddish color.
Yep.
What are those?
Veins.
Veins, right?
Yeah.
So we can see them really well right there because the skin is a little bit thinner than the rest of our body. And the elephant ears are completely covered in veins that are very close to the surface of the skin.
Oh.
So where are we going with this?
A couple things. I bet if they're flapping their ears,
Yeah.
does it cool the blood?
Yes, it does.
Nice.
It cools the blood. And this is a fun little experiment that you can do at home too.
Doesn't work for me.
You can flap your wrists or your arms and see if it cools you down. But an easier way to test it is if you're really, really hot, put something cold, like ice cubes or a cold rag on your wrists, and it tends to cool you down a lot slower.
Do you think that's why the keepers, because we learned that the keepers, with all their training they do a lot of the blood draws from the ears too. Is that because the blood vessels are real close to the skin?
Exactly. Nice. Okay. So it makes it like how when we get our blood drawn, I have a vein whenever I go in. They're like, do you have a specific vein? And I'm like, yep, here it is. And they're like, oh, that's a great vein. But
okay.
But yeah, it makes it a lot easier because the veins are more visible and they're closer to the surface of the skin. So that's one of my favorite adaptations. What about you, Steve?
I'm a teeth guy.
Yeah, they do.
I think the teeth in elephants are really cool because there's not very many.
Right.
They really only have those 4 molars in the mouth. So they got one on one on both sides of the bottom and one on both sides of the top, so 4 total. And the tusks are a modified tooth.
And we could see some tusks really well today, right?
Yeah.
So
Chelsea, you able to get some tusks on your picture?
All of these elephants have tusks, but the one in the middle, you can only really see the one on the opposite side of her body.
Yep. And those things are multi-tools. Tusks are used for so many purposes. And if you take tusks off of elephants, a lot of times they have a tough time. They can have a little more tough time surviving in their native world because those are used for knocking things down, for digging for watering holes, for showing the dominance and who the boss is. So those tusks are so important. And I don't know about you, they look really good on the elephants. I don't know that we need them.
Yeah, they do look amazing.
There's all kinds of cool substitutes. We've talked about those in the past.
And the ones that we have here, so sometimes if like you go and you look and they don't have their tusks, like what happened to those tusks?
Sometimes they're not born with them. We have one animal that wasn't born with tusks.
I've actually heard that happens a lot in Asian elephants too.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yep. And then sometimes they break off. You know, you may know somebody who's broken a tooth and they got right down into the root.
Ooh.
And they can't save that tooth, so they have to pull it.
Yeah.
And that's what will happen sometimes with elephants anywhere.
What I've heard is in people, at least when they've told me, that's really painful if it isn't pulled out.
I bet.
So
I've been lucky I haven't had that.
Could be really painful for the elephant as well, I'm assuming, if they don't remove it and extract it.
Absolutely.
Pretty neat. All right, you want to hear another one of my
favorites?
Another
one? Go for it.
Oh, like I said, we could be here for 45 minutes if you really wanted to. That long trunk.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's filled with more muscles than we have in our whole entire body.
I've heard that. By not a little.
No, by tens of thousands. Yeah. And they can not only gather water up into it.
Right.
Now they don't drink through it because
it's not a straw. Right?
No, it's like it's not like it is their nose. So it would be us
milk
drinking.
Can come out kind of thing.
Yeah, they could do the milk through the nose type thing. Right. They don't want to breathe water in through their nose, just like we don't either. That is not a fun feeling. But it's so long they can collect gallons of water into their nose and then push it into their mouths or spray it on their backs to cool off as well. So
how cool is that?
It was pretty neat.
Interesting. That's fun.
The amount of muscles that they have, though, like we said, tens of thousands more than we have in our whole entire body, allows them to be so dexterous.
Oh, it's crazy.
Right, that they can pick up a blade of grass.
Single blade of grass?
Single blade of grass. Pretty amazing, right?
Wow, that's crazy. I wonder if Chelsea has an adaptation.
Chelsea!
Yeah.
Is there anything you think's cool about elephants and their adaptations?
Oh, there's so many things.
I know, right?
We already took the good ones.
You took the good ones. I think their skin is pretty cool.
Okay.
And how they use that to keep them cool in the heat of Africa because it's kind of crinkly and dry and stuff. So they also kind of goes along with the trunk. They'll kind of spray some mud on their back, and that extra crinkle in their skin kind of holds in, it increases the surface area of their skin, and it allows them to cool their bodies down because they have more cool mud on their skin.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Well, that's like you said. You could do a 45-minute program on elephants.
We could.
So I think we should probably think about wrapping this one up on elephants. What do you think?
I think that's good. I think we got some of our favorites in there, right?
All right. Stick around. See what else we have left for you.
Oh, yeah. You know what I thought of?
What's that?
Because we're walking.
We are walking.
One of my other favorite adaptations about elephants is that they have this thing called acoustic fat.
Acoustic fat?
Yeah, basically they're standing on acoustic fat. So their bones look like they're standing on tippy toes, but then there's this big hunk of fat called acoustic fat that's like right underneath their bones, their foot bones.
Their foot bones.
Right, and it's acoustic because it amplifies sound, just like dolphins and I love whales.
You do love whales.
Yeah, dolphins and belugas have acoustic fat for echolocation.
I gotcha.
So they can hear low rumbles and communicate to each other.
Through their feet?
Through their feet, through the ground.
That's
for
ridiculous.
miles.
That is
amazing.
Insane. I love it. Very cool. But you just have to keep on going with elephants. So let's wrap it up. So many. Look them up. They're incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, Leslie.
Yes, we don't want to wake Mo up.
Sorry. There's glass between us.
I know, but he's so peaceful.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hey, aren't these guys omnivores? I mean, herbivores.
They are herbivores.
So they're straight plant eaters, right?
Straight plant eaters, right?
How come he has a belly?
I know. It's like
a big old gorilla belly.
You eat so many plants. How do you have such a belly?
What is it?
Cool story.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually part of an adaptation that they have to eat all those
belly
plants.
is an adaptation?
Yes.
How cool.
They have more parts of intestines in their belly, so it kind of sticks out a little bit more because it has to hold all of those intestines for them to be able to digest.
So that's where all the food's broken down in the belly like that?
And they really seem to enjoy eating like super thick, what we call pithy.
Pithy?
Yeah, pithy plants. So very like hardy, thick plants.
I see.
And so they have to have lots of intestines to be able to break it all down.
Well, that makes sense.
So that's just how they normally look.
I see. Well, I think it's let's go ahead and let him be.
Yeah, shh.
Good
Good night.
Bye, Mo.
Good night, Masuga.
You're the best, Mo. See ya. Chelsea, we're getting ready to leave. Alligators?
That's what these are. Correct. Good job, Steve.
Thanks. But adaptations?
Oh, right. Adaptations of alligators.
What do you have?
Oh, I have a lot of them, but
Really?
here's one that's really neat.
What you
Okay,
got?
first and foremost.
Yep.
See these guys laying out right now in the sun?
Dude, it's beautiful day.
So we have 2 gators in here, 2 American alligators. And they're laying out in the sun because that's how they get their warmth.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry, Digital Guts. I didn't allow you to answer that because I'm sure you would have gotten it right.
Well, of course they would have, and I bet they would have said ectothermic.
Right, yeah, or cold-blooded, which,
cold-blooded,
is correct too. One's just more quote-unquote scientific-y.
So what is ectothermic? Where's that word come from?
So if you split it up,
Yep.
ecto means outside,
Okay.
and therm means temperature, basically.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So when we also say things like thermoregulate, that means to regulate temperature because
Nice.
thermo.
Makes
So
sense.
ectothermal, outside temperature. They have to be in a warm place to get warm, and if they're too hot, they have to go into a cool place to cool down.
Oh, is that why you kind of see them swimming sometimes maybe, and other times they're basking like this?
Yes, basking.
Okay.
Ooh, good word too.
Well, you know.
But one of the neat things about them
Yep.
is that they have very specialized bones in their body called osteoderms.
Osteoderms?
Yeah, osteoderms. So osteo,
Bone?
bone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Derms like dermis, skin.
Like skin.
But it's very
Right
close,
underneath.
right underneath their skin. Yeah.
Osteoderm. Nice.
Well, the really neat thing about those
Oh.
is they are basically like little solar panels all over their body.
Really?
Yeah.
They gather the sun?
They gather sun. There's lots of blood vessels that go through them.
Of course.
And then so it creates kind of this nice spot for all the sun to soak up the the sun to get the blood warm, not soak up.
Oh, I see.
The blood soak ups all the warmth, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they're able to warm up really quickly because of those osteoderms, basically.
Nice.
It's pretty neat.
Okay.
Do you have anything cool about them?
I love the tail. The tail is just a powerful, powerful tool.
I mean, look at that thing, right?
Just full of muscle. And that's what pushes them through the water, not their feet. They actually lay their legs right next to their body, kind of the side, as they're swimming through the water.
That is a real fun visual.
Isn't that neat? So they almost look like little mini torpedoes with tail swooshing them through the water.
Y'all didn't see it, but I just
You
did.
did kind of do a little wiggle.
I acted like I was an alligator swimming in the
You did a
water.
Leslie wiggle.
Yes, we did. Or I did.
Yeah, I didn't wiggle.
I've heard though that tail is also one of the ways that you can kind of tell them apart from like lizards too, because they're
really?
crocodilians. So
Yeah, they're not a true lizard.
right. So they have that big old tail, and then as it kind of gets towards the end, it almost looks like it almost kind of comes to a nice point.
Yep.
So it almost looks like somebody kind of just like smashed either side of it. I mean, clearly they didn't. That's how they are. But it's kind of what it looks like. So it gets kind of thinner, and it's kind of more high. The height of it is kind of taller than it is kind of like round. Does that make sense? Yeah. So.
Sure it does.
Yeah.
Did Chelsea have it? You have it on camera, Chelsea?
I do.
Okay, that's really what we needed right there.
That's true. Right?
The only other thing I have, if I may, is that their teeth, because they lose so many and they just come right back.
Well, like more than people?
Yep. Okay. They've got like 80 teeth in their mouth at a time.
Oof.
80.
That's a lot.
And each time they lose one, they replace it.
Oh.
Every time they lose a tooth, they can replace it. So where you and I only get to do that a couple times?
Right.
Unless you buy a set.
I was like sitting there and I was like, yeah, but I lost my teeth and then they were replaced. But if I were to lose the teeth that I have now, they would not be replaced. Right. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
These guys just have teeth coming and coming and coming, kind of like sharks.
Oh. Look, what's Liv doing over there?
I don't know what she's doing. Liv, what are you doing?
She's kind of like
stretching that leg.
Stretching that leg a little bit, yeah. Enjoying the sun because it's been kind of cloudy today. So.
Yeah. Very cool. Alligators. Love them. So many cool adaptations.
Very true. You want to see if we can find something else?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So remember last time we were doing adaptations, and that's because that's what today is all about, a taped episode on adaptations. We did ostrich kind of rapid fire because there's a lot of things to talk about. Cougar's kind of the same way. So what do you think? Can we do it again?
We're just going to do a bunch of them? Okay, let's
bam.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay, I'm going to go first. I don't know if you could see it, but look at those nice whiskers. Oh, she just turned, of course.
Of course.
Olive turned when she did that.
Well, there you go. Let's see
so those whiskers, those are really sensitive, and it's what they can feel with. Because, I mean, they don't like hold things with their paws like we hold with our hands and touch.
Right.
Though they can use their feet in a lot of different ways. Those whiskers are great for sensing.
Gotcha.
And if they're able to kind of like go fit their head in a place, they can use the whiskers to kind of feel how big that area is.
Gotcha, so they can know if they can fit or not.
Right, yeah, so they can fit or out. So those whiskers kind of go out. So here, you want to hear a fancy word?
What you got?
They're called vibracé.
No way. Vibracé?
Vibracé, kind of how you want to say it.
Vibracé?
But vibracé, vibracé, those types of things. So.
Cool. I like the feet. The feet are huge, and their claws are retractable.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't see any claws right now. Right?
So if you're out looking at animals' tracks, you see some. If you see kind of the beans, the pads, and then no claws, that's probably going to be a cat. And the cougar is able to retract those claws, and then if he's in hunting mode or running mode, the claws can come out, or a climbing mode, the claws can come out and help him climb, jump, or catch prey.
Man, they have lots of modes.
They do have a lot of modes. Can you imagine? So the claws is my favorite. Hey, Chelsea, what about you? What do you have?
My favorite is that big tail.
Oh, good call.
You can see how big it is.
Big, fat tail. And it's so long that when they're running and they're jumping between like rocks and stuff, they actually flip it back and forth, and it helps them balance themselves.
Nice. And she's just gonna plop down for everybody to kind of see what's going on. That's neat. So the tail is from your Chelsea. That's a good one. Les, you got another quick one?
Yeah, because while she kind of has this nice view,
it's
a little bit hard to tell, but their back legs are slightly longer than their front legs.
Okay.
And
nice
somebody
yawn.
is
Holy
tired.
cow.
Yeah, it is later in the day.
That's a good shot.
I mean, I'm just kidding. It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
It is 10 o'clock in the morning. That's when we're getting this video.
on a Wednesday.
Sort of, kind of.
So one of the reasons that happens is it's a lot in certain animals that jump.
Okay.
So being able to jump, they need big, powerful back legs.
And they can jump pretty well?
Yeah, they can jump straight up. In fact,
really?
We sometimes put enrichment up they put enrichment up high here.
Really?
And they're able to jump almost straight up as tall as this, as the glass.
No kidding.
That's in there. So it's pretty
amazing. We've been lucky to see
amazing.
that a couple times. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Oh, Chelsea's showing us right now. Awesome.
Nice.
So they have a very powerful jump. And animals that do mostly jumping as how they get around, these still run and stuff like that. You also sometimes see their front legs so much shorter than their back legs because they only really need the front legs to kind of like hold themselves steady, and then they use the really big back. Think about frogs. And bunnies and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So
I've got one. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No, I was saying, so that's one of the other things I like.
The last thing that I really think is kind of cool is the color. And Chelsea, you can see it very well in what Chelsea has in this picture. They have that kind of a dark color, more tawnish on the top or on their back, and their belly is lighter. Digital friends, any thought why that might be the case? Why might they be a little bit lighter on the belly and darker on the top? We've talked about it with some other animals in the past. How about counter shading? So if they're up high in a tree and a prey item might be looking up, or even another predator, maybe it's a female cat or a smaller cat, they're looking up, they begin to blend in with the sky as the belly there. And if they need to stalk their predator, stalk their prey item, they can hunker down low to the ground and blend in more with the dark rocks and grasses that might be around them. So that color, that counter shading, very, very important to the cougar or the puma.
Or the catamount.
Mountain lion.
So many names.
All the same thing. Well, man, we saw so many animals today. This is even our second adaptation video. We could do another one with so many animals.
That's why I figured we'd stop here at Flamingo and not give them any more hints.
Right.
Let's say this might be another animal we pick up later on.
Maybe.
But those adaptations are really important, right? They're those characteristics, those traits, those things each individual animal has, each species has, that helps them survive in their world.
100%, you're correct.
Surviving and thriving in their space.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, digital friends, we hope you enjoyed Adaptations Part 2. I know we enjoyed bringing it to you.
Electric Boogaloo.
Nice. So your Zoo Adventures Zoo Adventures team today. Thank you very much, Leslie.
We got it.
You had Steve in front of the camera. Leslie was in front of the camera.
Whee!
And
some other person was behind the camera.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Chelsea, you were behind the camera today.
I was indeed. Have a good day, everybody.
Y'all stay safe. Hope to see you at the zoo soon.
Bye.
Bye.